Welcome back everyone to our series of lessons on rivers, and today we're going to be this is just going to be a really short lesson, and it's going to cover the 4 processes of erosion which happen in rivers. Now, erosion is the process where a river wears away at the land, and the ability of a river to erode depends on how much water is moving through the river and how fast that water is moving. And erosion takes place in 4 ways. There's hydraulic action, abrasion, solution, and attrition. Let's start with hydraulic action. This is when the force of fast flowing water hits the riverbanks and the riverbed, which is the bottom of the river, and it forces water into cracks in the banks and the bed of the river. This compresses air into the cracks, and with this repeating again and again and again, the air pressure will weaken the cracks in the channel. Now, hydraulic action is responsible for vertical erosion, so it's eroding downwards in the upper course of a river. And in the lower course of a river, it starts to have more lateral erosion on the banks. So in the upper course, it's affecting the bed of the river, and in the lower course of the river, it's affecting the banks. Let's move on to abrasion. Now, abrasion is where small boulders and stones scratch and scrape their way down a river during transport, and they wear down the riverbanks and their beds. Stones which have fallen into the channel, if you imagine that they've fallen from the sides of the river, maybe up high in the mountains where the river's starting, those stones are going to be really angular and they're going to have sharp, jagged edges. And so these are particularly effective at abrading the sides of the river because they're really angular. So as they move along the river, they scratch and scrape away at the riverbed. Okay, solution is slightly different. Solution is the dissolving of rocks. So rocks like chalk and limestone, they dissolve into the rocks, into the water. And solution is when those rocks dissolve slowly into the river water, and that's slowly eroding them away. Okay, attrition is to do with the river's load. Okay, it's the material which is actually being carried by the river. And when stones first enter the river, they're going to be jagged and angular, like we said before. And as they're transported downstream, these stones are going to collide with each other, and they're also going to collide with the river banks and the bed. And this is going to knock off the stone's jagged edges so that they become smooth and more rounded as they travel downstream. It might even smash the stone into smaller pieces. Now, these stones are going to be smoothed and rounded as they make their journey to the sea. Okay, so attrition is when stones are hitting into each other and knocking off the jagged edges. Like I said, just a short lesson today, but we need to know what these key processes of erosion are.